Welcome to AI Explained. I'm your host, Kait Walsh, and today we're talking about AI education and how it's all playing out at Rhode Island College with a really innovative program that they have there. So joining me today is the architect of the program, if you will, Dr. Timothy Henry. So thank you for joining us today.
Nice to be here.
And also former Congressman Jim Langevin, who is really monumental at Rhode Island College, and you have a background of cybersecurity and a lot of interest in this program as well. So I'm interested to hear both of your takes on what's going on in the world of AI. So thank you for joining me.
Thanks. Great to be here.
All right. So first, let's give a little bit of background here, since it is such a new, it seems, program, and a lot of people are now just talking about artificial intelligence in the past couple of years. What is your background and how did you come to create this program at Rhode Island College?
Well, I've been in higher ed for about the last 25 years. Prior to that, I have some military experience and was also in the IT world doing consulting work, building large IT systems. So I brought kind of the real world experience and my academic experience together in this. Plus, I've been working and researching artificial intelligence since the mid-90s, off and on. Nothing major, no major breakthroughs on my part, but I'm very familiar with the technology and the pieces that you need in order to be successful with artificial intelligence. So whenever I came to Rhode Island College, when Congressman got the Institute started, one of my first tasks was to set up the AI major. And so I looked at what Rhode Island College had. It already had a couple of AI courses and a really strong computer science program. And so to get started, that's kind of where we went. We took the computer science foundation and added to that a little bit more artificial intelligence that covers things like not just the large language models and the chats that you can have, but also looking at vision processing, looking at processing like you would do in financial environment or healthcare, things like that, adding that to the program. And then we looked at a program that's not just for like AI majors and computer science majors, but we also wanted to have a minor that was available to anybody at RIC, because people who are doing social work, nursing, going into higher ed or K-12 education, all those people are going to need to use AI in the workplace. So we wanted to put together a minor that would help educate them as to how to use it responsibly and what some of the risks and some of the advantages are to it.
Interesting. And you have students coming into this kind of at the forefront of their understanding of all of AI stuff in high school, because they're used to ChatGPT, where even someone, not old but older than them is like confused by ChatGPT. So you're already having these students who are just knowing this type of technology already because that's what they grew up with, right?
Right. Well, one of the things with higher ed is we're kind of sandwiched in between the K-12 system and the workplace. And right now, as you said, students coming out of K-12 are already familiar with using AI in some respect. They may not be like AI majors building models and all that, but they know how to use it. And then our graduates have to know how to use AI in the workplace. It turns out numerous studies have shown that employers would much rather have somebody who has very little experience but knows how to use AI tools than somebody who has 10 years experience or so in the workplace.
Wow.
And so we want to make sure our students are ready for that, whatever their major happens to be. And so we're having to transform higher ed, which is part of what a workshop I was at last week was about, was how can we transform higher ed to be ready for these students who are coming in AI literate and preparing them for the workforce that's AI integrated now.
Absolutely. Wow. Yeah. And I want to hear more about the takeaways from your conference in a moment. But first, Congressman, I want to hear, you have a background in being on the cybersecurity committee, right, in Washington, and then your interest in creating this program at Rhode Island College. So tell me why you found it to be really important.
Sure. Well, it's certainly an honor and a privilege of a lifetime to have served as the congressman from the 2nd District of Rhode Island for 22 years. And then when I was ready to leave and deciding what I was going to do next, I had a conversation with President Warner and then subsequently with Governor McKee about starting this institute on cybersecurity and emerging technologies. Since I was a lead voice in the United States Congress on cyber, I've also been involved with artificial intelligence. I created the commission, the U.S. Commission on Artificial Intelligence, that was chaired by the USCAI with Eric Schmidt, former CEO of Google, and Bob Work, who's a former Deputy Secretary of Defense. And they produced a report about the importance of artificial intelligence and what the nation should be looking at. So I'm no stranger to AI, but certainly I was more expert in cybersecurity, having been involved in that area for so long. So I wanted to come to Rhode Island College and grow both of these issues to make sure that the students who are being educated at Rhode Island in college were getting the best possible education in both cybersecurity and emerging fields of technology like artificial intelligence. And so we have been up and running, partnering with Dr. Tim Henry and the computer science department, and really growing the programs at Rhode Island College and attracting the brightest young students, hopefully from around the state and the region, to come to study at Rhode Island College, and making sure that our students are both cyber ready and AI ready when they graduate. So it's an exciting time. I'm also chairing the Governor's AI Task Force right now, and we're going to be issuing our final report in the very near future. And Dr. Tim Henry is also helping to lead that effort as well with us as the lead academic on the AI task force. So a lot of things that are happening. We're also going to be focusing on a lot of credentialing through the institute to make sure that not only are students getting the degree, but also getting hopefully certified in both cyber or artificial intelligence, so that they have the practical skills and experience to help them get that all-important first job.
Yeah, because that's key. And
yeah, and obviously, clearly, artificial intelligence is changing the world in countless ways, and we want to make sure that everything that we're offering integrates AI throughout their academic studies, and that will be something else we'll talk about in the findings of the AI task force.
Interesting. How do you think Rhode Island compares to other states when it comes to programs like this being offered at colleges for students?
Well, I can say without a doubt that Rhode Island College, and because of the work of Dr. Henry and the team at the business school being led by Dean Marianne Raimondo, that we have the most robust program in artificial intelligence of any college university in the state of Rhode Island, because we have an approved AI major and two minors in artificial intelligence. And in particular, that the program that Dr. Henry, and he was the key architect of our AI programs, no doubt, at the school. One of the programs that I like the best is the AI that is offered to, say, non-computer science practitioners. It's really designed for anybody as they enter the workplace to be familiar with how to use AI in the workplace. So, if you're going into education or nursing, really any field of studying and teaching, you want to be able to effectively use AI in a very positive way, and how we to be the most productive employee possible. Dr. Henry mentioned in our work on the task force, we found that over 70% of employers would rather hire someone that has some AI skills, but maybe not as much experience or no experience, versus someone who has a lot of experience but no AI skills. So really important time and an important topic.
Yeah, that's wild. That's an amazing statistic. All right, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Welcome back to AI Explained. And so we're talking about the program about artificial intelligence at Rhode Island College and how it's really on the forefront of learning about AI in the country. And so I noticed on your website for the program, it said AI is expected to create 12 million more jobs than it replaces. And I know a fear among a lot of people is that AI is going to replace their jobs. And I know people in my life who have lost their job because of AI and just the way that the world is right now with technology. So explain to me that statistic and how it seems like maybe you're hopeful for how AI can help people in a positive way.
So AI is clearly forcing a paradigm shift right now, and every industry right now is working to adapt to it. And how to incorporate it into their business, and getting the people with the right skills to do the job. There's some are, again, very fearful that AI will take their job, and it may not. It's been said that AI might not take your job, but someone with AI skills will take your job. And so that's why it's so important to be AI ready, and upskilling is going to be also a very important aspect of what we're going to be talking about in the AI Task Force final report, to make sure that no worker is left behind. Governor McKee has been very forward-leaning on making sure that Rhode Island is AI ready, and we'll be talking about those things when we issue our final report. But
Yeah, just to follow up on that, I think we've seen technological shifts before where there's some job loss, but there's other types of jobs being created. I think what's really scary to people right now is the speed at which this is happening. Whereas before, there usually has to be a lot of investment by the individuals or by businesses in order to fully take advantage of what the new technology has. A lot of these large language models have been made available for free. There's some risks with that, but that has really driven this technological shift much faster. And so I think that's where a lot of the pain and the stress comes from what's happening right now, as opposed to other technological shifts.
Can you explain how maybe more jobs would be created, though? I'm just thinking, people watching what comes to mind is like a marketing degree, right? AI programs might be able to write a press release and send it out without the person actually needing to do that, or consolidating work so that they don't have to work as much because AI has taken over a lot of their duties. So how would more jobs be created?
Well, they don't necessarily. Well, first of all, I think they're going to be created in each of those industries as we go forward. It's going to be a shift. There might be a thinning right now, but what they'll find out is the people who do have the AI skills are much more productive, and so the company will grow and be able to do more with the staff they have, and eventually add more staff to do the work. The types of jobs that are going to be created are ones, typically with the new technology, they're around the technology.
Right.
Like with the horse and carriage, all of a sudden we have automobiles. Well, there's a whole lot of automobile jobs right now that weren't there 150 years ago. It's the same thing right now with the artificial intelligence. A lot of it is not just AI, but data science, being able to feel very comfortable with the data. But then again, it's also learning how to use the tools. There's starting to become some roles that are focused on using these large language models and understanding how to integrate them into a company. Being a consultant or advisor in that area. So yeah, it's still churn right now, but as time goes on, I think we'll see more jobs created as we go forward.
yeah, and we've seen this in different times in history before. When a major new technology is developed, people say think that the sky is falling. The reality is, we adapt, and the economy grows in unprecedented different ways that we really couldn't necessarily anticipate. Think of when the internet came along, and how or computers came along, and there were people that thought this is going to shock the economy in negative ways, and actually the internet created a multi-trillion-dollar economy going forward. And the same thing is going to happen with AI. We're just at this nascent stage where everybody's kind of still figuring it out.
Yeah.
We just want to make sure Rhode Island is well prepared, and that's our job.
And so what's your take, obviously with decades of experience in Washington, what's your take on how things are regulated or not regulated right now when it comes to AI, and how much maybe control it seems it has over things?
Yeah, well, like with cybersecurity, Congress at the federal level has always been too slow to act, and there's a difference between the two parties, maybe of Democrats maybe being more forward-leaning on wanting to legislate and regulate, and on the other side, they want more of a laissez-faire approach, and want consensus and market-driven solutions to be developed. I think in this case, it's so important that we regulate around AI, and we have bumper guards on, and making sure that it's used ethically and responsibly. The Congress has not moved fast enough on it, but states are legislating and regulating in those areas. I think that's a very positive thing. There was an effort in Washington recently. Senator Ted Cruz tried to put forth legislation that would have banned states from regulating or legislating around AI for 10 years. that would have been a horrible bill to have gotten passed. Thankfully, it was defeated there in the Senate. However, there was another attempt to put it into the National Defense Authorization Act. Senator Jack Reed, obviously the ranking member on the Senate Armed Services Committee, he knows, we both know, and I was on the Armed Services Committee for 22 years. The National Defense Authorization Act is what's called a must-pass bill. It has passed every year for more than the last 60 years. So you know it's a bill that's going to pass because it authorizes programs and helps to fund our troops and our national security. So it's essential. There was an attempt to get it into that bill, and I was actually texting with Senator Reed this morning, and in other research I was doing, it looks like that provision did not make it into the National Defense Authorization Act that was just reported out last night. So we're doing this on Monday. So it was on Sunday night that the defense bill was reported out of conference. Now both sides, it'll go to the floor, and they have to potentially propose amendments and such. But as of right now, that looks like that effort is halted. And so, but again, it's important that states do regulate around and legislate around artificial intelligence. I'm very pleased with Rhode Island. It already has in the state Senate, has a artificial intelligence committee headed by Senator Gu, and I've met with Senator Gu, and Senator Gu has actually been to our institute for briefings and meeting, and we've been in contact with her there and at Capitol Hill, and also the House. Representative Baginski is the chair of the committee that has jurisdiction over artificial intelligence there, and so Rhode Island's leaning heavy on this, and Governor McKee has obviously a strong interest in artificial intelligence, but very important that we have bumper guards around AI, and I know Dr. Henry wants to talk about that.
Yeah, just very briefly, one of the reasons people in the federal government want to not regulate or prevent regulation is they fear that the regulation will slow down the innovation in artificial intelligence, and they look at it as a very competitive international environment with China and Russia and everyone else really trying to drive forward and with their models and what's happening. They want U.S. to be forefront. But I think that's a false premise in that regulations do not need to stop innovation. They can guide where the innovation happens, and so, but they also can protect the individuals while that's going on. And so that's why I agree with the Congressman that we do need some regulation, because one of the challenges with this model is we're depending on these models for decision making, for guidance, and how they are built and where their information comes from is very much a black box. And so that makes it really hard to trust. So for example, I know where my coworkers have been trained. I know what they went through, so I can trust them because of their education and their credentials. That's not true with AI models, and that's kind of where we need to go with AI models, is having that level of transparency, that level of credentialing, so that we can really put our trust in them.
Yeah, having ethics around AI, building these AI models is so important. Transparency, and doing things to make sure that we're especially protecting kids when they're using artificial intelligence. There was just a piece last night on 60 Minutes talking about AI and how sadly a 12-year-old girl was interacting with these AI chatbots, and it sadly led to her taking her own life at 12 years old. Yeah. Completely unacceptable. What a horrible thing to have happen. My heart goes out to that family. We need to make sure that those who are building these models, building AI programs, are building them responsibly, ethically, and making sure that that type of thing can never happen again.
All right, I want to pick up on that in just a moment, but we're going to take a quick break and we'll come back for that. Welcome back to AI Explained. So I want to pick up where we left off and just ask, is it too late to regulate some of this stuff? I mean, we were just talking about how it's a race around the world. No.
It's definitely not too late. In fact, we need to do it now because AI is here now. And we want to make sure that it's being used ethically and responsibly. Certainly, kids are already using it, and both at home and in the classroom. And teachers are experimenting with it and using it and trying to figure out, how to incorporate it into the classroom. Let's face it, kids are going to use it, and we want to make sure that they're using it to fuel their intellectual curiosity, and making sure that we don't let them use AI to the extent that they're losing their critical thinking skills. We don't want them to just rely on AI. AI is a good tool, but again, it's a trust but verify. And it's not okay if kids are using it to cheat and cut corners, right?
Right.
We want them to use it to explore their intellectual curiosity. And there are programs out there that do that. And in the classroom, teachers are using it and helping teachers to develop their curriculum and use it as for more effective ways of teaching. But Dr. Henry's the real expert, and I'd let him to comment on that.
So using AI in the classroom it's challenging to find the right mix, because you don't want to take away what's important from the students' learning, which is really learning that critical thinking. You'll find out if most teachers, that's what they really fear, is that students aren't going to be able to think critically about what they're doing. I think part of, in my conversations with faculty, is that we need to really look at what do we want the students to get out of this particular course. And if I was a new teacher just walking in today with all these tools available to me, how would I teach my class? As opposed to thinking, well, I've taught it this way, now there's this tool, and so students can do their assignments without thinking. Well, that's the world that we're coming into now, so we need to think differently about how we teach. One of the ways at the workshop last week that they talked about was that we're not just teaching students anymore, we're teaching students with their laptops, with their phones, with AI. So if we think about that as what we're trying to educate, with the student being the most important part, how do we present the different topics? Okay, what's important at this level? What's important at this level, and work through it like that.
Yeah, from what I gathered too, speaking with the Department of Education, this was at the beginning of the year, leading into this school year. It was interesting how they were saying, it's no longer just throwing in an essay about Romeo and Juliet into ChatGPT and having it write it. It's more the critical thinking of, okay, let's just not write a summary of what the book is about. Let's really think deeper into it, stuff that ChatGPT might not be able to even process, because you need a human to really think it through, and so it's getting creative with how to use AI as a tool and not just to do your work for you, right?
Right. And that's a good way to put it. It's a tool for us to do the work. We can do a lot more work, but it doesn't replace that critical thinking piece, the creativity piece, because everything that you're seeing out of these large language models, even the image and video generators, is just redoing words and things we've already put into it. So if we're not creating new content, there will never be new content. It's just rearranging we've done. Yeah. And so that's another aspect of it, is being able to do that creative piece.
It's also important for us to instill in the kids that, again, AI is a tool, but it's trust but verify. There are still things that happen, like hallucinations. And even the creators of AI don't exactly know why it happens. But if AI doesn't know the answer to something, it'll make it up. It sounds pretty authoritative. There's a famous case in New York where this attorney submitted looked like a well thought out brief until the judge started doing the deep dive and looking at the cases, and most of them were fictitious cases. So again, you have to be we have to teach the kids right from the get-go to understand it is a tool, but you need to verify. That's the other part that's important in understanding and using this AI tool.
There's so much to talk about. Just one final thought.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to say. That probably for me, the most critical thing right now is resources and infrastructure. Finding, getting our faculty, K through 12 and higher ed, trained in how to teach with AI and understanding AI themselves and how it can integrate in, and then the resources that they need in order to be able to teach using AI. Not all the tools are free, and so we need to make sure that the best tools are available to our faculty and to our students going forward. And so getting faculty educated and trained, and then getting the resources they need are going, the faster and more thoroughly we can do that, the quicker we'll be able to adapt to the changes that are out there right now.
And that's one of our sweet spots at Rhode Island College. We've we've already done some of that for K through 12 educators that have come up to the college over the summer, and we'll be doing more of that. We were just given we've applied for a grant at the federal level to the Department of Education that we're hoping to do more of that AI teacher K through 12 training, and we also received a Governor's Workforce Board grant, both centered on cybersecurity and artificial intelligence and things like internships. But also, again, we'll be working on funding for educating the educators, so the K through 12 and as well as post-secondary.
Interesting. All right. Thank you, gentlemen, both for being here. I really appreciate all of your insight and hope to have you back on soon. And thank you for watching AI Explained.